Today we will discuss about recommender systems. Most of the concepts you have already gone through in machine learning. It is something like revisiting them, and we will also see if the data is very big, then what problems we may face, how do we overcome them. So that is the discussion point today. So what is recommendation? There are items, there are users. So you need to, or a recommendation system has to recommend items to users. Items may be anything of the products, movies, music, news items, like that. So it has to search the relevant thing for a prospective customer or prospective user and recommend that based on some criteria. So why these recommendation systems have come into existence? Usually, if you see in any physical shops, they will have a limited shelf space. They cannot display all the items which they have to sell. Sometimes, if they feel that those items are not popular and many people won't purchase, then they just remove from their store. So shelf space is a scarce commodity for traditional retailers. Even on TV networks also, if they want to give an ad, it goes for all, they cannot customize. So the space where they are giving ads, you know that the bottom or top or some side screen they start giving, that is very limited space and they can advertise only few things, or they can show it even commercially to get people to aware of those products. Even in movie theater also, they can display only one movie, not based on which person is interested on what. The web enables near zero cost dissemination of information about products. After this web as popularized, internet has become affordable, then there are many websites. On a website, you don't have this problem of that space is limited. Still, you can show all the items, even if very few people like them. If that item is to be sold, then still, let's say, you can show on a web page that item, that specifications of that item, cost, all those things. From scarcity to abundance. Earlier, space was limited, but now space is not limited. You can display as many items you can on a web. Gives rise to the long tail phenomenon. This is the most important phenomenon in data mining or data science. Retail and online, these are the items which are most popular or purchased by most number of people. Those items are always will be displayed in retail stores and also online stores. But if there is less demand, less popular those items, so these retailers cannot afford them to display on a shelf. That's why they just remove from their retail shop. Only by the order, then they say, okay, we will order that and we'll get, then we'll call you back, then we'll hand it over. That is what happens most of the times if you observe, if that is not popular item. So in a sense that they are not selling them, only by getting orders, means they are not even advertising or displaying those products are available. So those type of products now have become available on online, which you may not get in a store. Now you may get in an Amazon website or Flipkart e-commerce website. Is it clear what I'm talking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is long tail means what? Here, you see the right side, right? There are plenty of items, but their demand is less. Their popularity is less. That doesn't mean that nobody is interested on those products. You understand? That's why it is called long tail problem. So popular items are limited, and your shelf space is also limited. That's why they put popular items. But as you proceed to the right side, there are items fading away the popularity, but there is some market for them also. But retailers cannot afford, but online websites can afford that to display those products. So that is called a long tail phenomenon. So this is important aspect you should remember. People use it different, not only for e-commerce, many things, right? Even for books also. Some books people may not be that interested because they are not popular, but some people may be interested in those. If you take scientific things, deeper scientific subjects, people may not like to buy them, normal people, but it's specific people who are doing research into that. They may want that book. So again, non-popular, so not available in regular bookstores. So if you order, then they'll tell it, say, we will also order, then get back to you when we receive that. So, but online, it is simple to display that. Not only the people who want to that, for other people also, they can display these type of books are available. So long tail means the right side is the long tail. Right side, left side is not long, it's only right side as you go, then they become long. More choice necessitates better filters. So again, the problem is, if you have thousands of items to display, user may not reach that thousands of items because it takes time for him to even scan what items are available. Then again, you need a filter that based on the user, what will be the interesting for that user to purchase or what excites him. So those products to be displayed. There, these recommendation engines will work as a filter based on some measurement that you may like these items in this order, something like if 1000, you put that the first one which we recommend, second one which we recommend based on your interests. So that is searching for the products, time will become less. So what type of recommendations we'll see? We can recommend a book, movie, music, news article. For people in networks, social networks, you can recommend a friend, and you can also recommend a friend in LinkedIn or connection in LinkedIn and Twitter. Types of recommendations. Editorial and hand curated means physically people will take the data and see what is interesting. Based on that, they will profile, according to profile, they will physically make that is as a recommendation. List of favorites, lists of essential items, like that. Simple aggregates. Then usually they will have statistics that what are the top 10 movies people watched this week. That it's one of the top 10 movie you will recommend. Not much data science here, just statistical based things. And most popular and recent uploads, whatever is the recent upload, then they'll recommend that. So this is based on simple statistical measurement, that's all. Tailored to individual users, we have seen many of the sites, Amazon, Netflix, Pandora, all these things, they will give recommendation based on individual users. So if you are giving top 10, is it based on user profile? This top 10 recommendation will go?
No, sir.
No. That is for all, they will give these top 10 as recommendations, right? Most popular
Yes.
also same thing. But when it comes to the tailored, means it is based on individual user choices or user interests. So that is what we see many of these sites are providing recommendations based on user profiles. So our focus here is the third part, tailored to individual users. So how do this recommendation engine model looks like? Then a set of set of customers, that is, and a set of items, yes. So you have items, you have customers. You need to recommend item to a customer. Then we will define another term, utility function. For whom it is useful, you need to find out. So you have customer cross yes to R. So then you need to give a pair for that customer, what item is recommended. right? That is recommendation. So C cross S means you take the customer set, you take the item set, then you form the pairs so that customer and for which for a customer and item which is interest for that customer. Like that, you need to make pairs. That is the recommendation system. That is nothing but it's a customer item. The recommended item to the customer should be added to that tuple. So C cross S to R means it is a function you find for each customer what is to be recommended item. R equal to set of ratings. So right side is the, for that customer, what is the rating of that particular product to be recommended. So you'll get simply right side only numbers, ratings, rating for each customer and item. R is a totally ordered set. That is nothing but you can say that any two ratings are comparable. You can always say that which is small, which is equal, which is above than this rating. Example 0, 5 stars. So ratings is always comparable, right? 0 means less, 5 is more. Any number between also you can say which is more, which is less. And real numbers also in 0, 1 are comparable. Now you see the utility matrix. This utility matrix looks like this. There are movies here, Avatar, LOTR, Matrix, Pirates. There are movie goers or movie users, Alice, Bob, Carol, and David. Then Alice has given rating for Avatar is 1. For Matrix, she gave 0.2. So this is these scores are between 0 and 1. So Alice might not have given rating to LOTR or she might not have seen the movie. So there are many gaps or empty spaces you can say. That means that they might not have seen those movies or not given any rating for them. So this is utility matrix. Utility matrix is nothing but C cross S and the ratings, right? Columns are items, rows are what here? Customers. What are the values?
Ratings.
Then what is problem to get this matrix? Gathering known ratings for matrix. How to collect the data in the utility matrix? So you want for each movie from each person who watched that, you want rating, but do they give rating? Is there any platform that that will force them? Is it possible to force them to give rating? So you may not get many times rating to the movies. That is also a problem. How to collect the data in the utility matrix? That is first problem. Second one is the extrapolate unknown ratings from the known ones. Okay, you got ratings from the users. Now you need to fill up. If Alice likes or if Alice watches this LOTR movie, what rating she may give? That is missing here. It is for future. If she watches, what rating she may give? That is what we need to fill up wherever the empty spaces you find. That is the second task. Based on that, it's if Alice watched only 2 movies, she didn't watch LOTR and Pirates. If we give ratings or predictive ratings, then for whichever movie you get more rating, LOTR or Pirates as a predictive rating, that movie you recommend for Alice to watch. So that is the idea here. So extrapolate unknown ratings from the known ones. So predict the ratings wherever people didn't watch, what rating they may give. Mainly interested in high unknown ratings. We are not interested in knowing what you don't like, but what you like. So our whole focus is what they like instead of what they don't like, because recommendations are based on what?
What people might check, what customers might check.
What like, right? We are not going to consider it, what we just ignore if they don't like. So our whole focus should be on what they like instead of what they don't like. Because there are plenty of movies, instead of looking that what they don't like and eliminating, just look at the movies, what they would like. evaluating extrapolation methods. Then how do you evaluate whether you extrapolated or you predicted values are good values or accurate values? How to measure success performance of recommendation systems or recommendation methods? Gathering ratings. How do you gather the ratings? Ask people to rate items. So how many people will rate in percentages if you ask?
Probably 5 to 10% of people.
Yeah, you might have experienced that, in first year, we were asking to give the feedback, all those things, ratings. Even then, in a small group where we are continuously asking, we found only 30%, 40% students are giving feedback or rating, right? Means largely 70% are not responding. Where you have a control, you can talk to them, you can request them. Sometimes you can explain why rating is important, giving rating. Even though we did, that is 30%, 40% is most of the times. So for a general people, it's only just convention, okay? There is some form is there, you need to give rating. So how many people will, it's a very few, not even 5%, I don't think. If you go and see in Netflix, for any movie, would you get more than 1 lakh thing, 100,000? People might watch, 1 crore good movies, right? So very few, right? So that is the problem. Don't scale, means you don't get as many as you want. Only a small fraction of users leave ratings and reviews. Coming to the reviews, still it goes down, okay? Not even 1 lakh people will write, only maybe 10,000 people will write the reviews. Then what is other way if you don't get like this? Learn rating from user actions. So you see that how many people purchased that movie. Purchase implies high rating. So it is based on just user actions. So what about low ratings? So if you don't get enough ratings, then what do you do? That is also a question again. Extrapolating utilities, key problem, matrix U is sparse. This is your U matrix. This is sparse means what? Very few entries are non-zero. In this case, it doesn't look like sparse, at least half of the values are there, but most of the times you may get 1%, 2% values. I don't know. If there are 10 movies, an average person, how many movies you watch? Not students or not MSIT students. You have enough time to watch movies, all the movies. But if you see the serious people like who are into some serious preparation for IITs or NITs or MIT, like that institutes or IIMs, they don't even watch one movie also, right? Sometimes. So it depends on even if you take a common man, how many movies you may watch? Monthly one, but there may be movies which release in that month, maybe 15, 20 also if it is a festival season. So those are the problems. You may not get lots of ratings. The matrix looks like a sparse. Most people have not rated most items. Cold start. New items have no ratings. If the movie is released today, you don't get any rating, then how do you start recommending that? That is also a problem. So that wherever you have the less data to start, that is called cold start. Why do they call it cold start?
No information, no support to rate those things.
Yeah, if it is cold, then we start working slowly, right? By getting from the bed itself, it will take time, right? Because the weather is not supportive. So new users have no history. That is also a problem. That's why it is called cold start. 3 approaches to recommender systems. One is content-based, collaborative-based, latent factor-based. This latent factor-based we will study when we do dimensionality reduction. The first two we have already seen, but again, we will revisit them today. What are they? So we discuss now content-based recommendations. Main idea, recommend items to customer X, similar to previous items rated highly by X. So we are interested that see how is he liking movies? What are the features he is liking to watch movies? Based on those features, if a new movie is having same features, then we will recommend that. So it is dependent on his behavior. So not any, see how other people are doing, we don't consider here. That's why it is called content-based. History of user is important for us. So we can recommend movies based on content, websites, blogs, news, people. See, if you make 10 friends in Facebook, then we will see that what are the things you are liking in them? What is common in those 10 people you are friend? If you are always have friends in your classmates, then if they find another classmate of you, then they recommend because you have already made 10 your classmates as friends. So that is based on your actions, your history of how you are making friends. So plan of action here, first item profiles, build item profiles, something like in different, let's say, maybe classmates, if it is a people, maybe same work interest or whatever that it's, or same liking same movies, discussing movies, something like that. So then build, then user profile also you need to build based on item profiles. We'll see that how do we build user profiles based on item profiles. Once you build user profiles, this item profiles is just matching the item or finding the similarities between the items. Then once you finalize the item profiles, then you will build user profiles based on item profiles. This is an important point which we will discuss now. So once you have item profiles and user profile, then match which user profile is matching to which item profile. So match. Based on matching scores, you recommend. So what is item profile? For each item, create an item profile. So we'll see some examples. How do we create item profiles? Profile is a set of features. Movies, author, title, actor, director, these are the features for a movie. Based on which author wrote, some people may like that movie. Based on what title, by looking at the title, some people may like, or looking at the actors, which actors are acting in this movie or acted in this movie, based on that people may like. So these are all will become features. Some people may like the director, and whatever the director does, then people may want to watch. Then images, videos, metadata and tags, what images they are liking. So what metadata and tags they will see. Then people, set of friends. So different features we need to extract out of these items. So some of the examples are given here. Convenient to think of the item profile as a vector. So once you make features, then feature values will become a vector for that profile. So one entry for feature, example, each actor, director will become a feature. If that actor is there, 0, if that actor, not, there 1, not there 0, something like that, you will create vectors. Vector might be Boolean or real value. If it is a rating, then you will give values, real values instead of the 0 or 1. Text features, this is one more aspect. Then how do you get features from the text? Profile set, because we also need to maintain, recommend the news items or any book that is based on the text items. So how do we get the features for text is set of important words in item. We will take those words, whether that is present in that book or not, that becomes a vector. How to pick important words again? Usual heuristic from text mining is TF-IDF. Term frequency multiplied by inverse document frequency. So what are these terms we'll see now? Fij equal to frequency of term I in doc j. So you'll take a word, then how many times it is appearing in appearing this particular word at I in doc J, then that is the term frequency, Fij by maximum of K, Fkj. So you take the maximum appearing word, you're normalizing in another words. So how many times this appeared, this particular I in that document, then that is the term frequency. Ni is the number of docs that mention term I. N equal to total number of docs. So IDF means inverse document frequency is log of N by Ni. This is important for us. See, if a word is appearing in all documents, then that word will lose the relevance. It is not important word for any of the documents because it is appearing all means it's a more common word. So here, this whole philosophy of the TF-IDF is nothing but you get those words which are used highly in a particular document, but not used across all the documents. If it is appearing in all the documents, then you are penalizing. This IDF is nothing but penalizing. You see, your small ni is coming in the down. Means if it appears in many documents, ni equal to number of docs that mention term I. So if the same term appears in many documents, this is called TF-IDF, means you are multiplying. When you multiply, if it is appearing many documents, then you will get less score, word score. If it is appearing less documents, you'll get high score. You need to see the difference. Appearing in many documents, appearing in the same document. TF is the appearing in the same document many times that increase the word TF-IDF score. But if it appears in all the documents, then it loses its score. So simple example is if you take the stop word is, so whatever document you take, is will appear or not? Then is because it appears all the documents. So your see your ni is all the total will come here. This ni is if log n by n is 1, right? N it appears in all the documents. Ni also will become equal to n. Then you'll get log 1. So you'll get simply 0. That word will lose all the score. So that is what we are penalizing the words which are more common words, in other words. Okay. TF-IDF penalize more common words which are used across all the documents. And it will reward which terms?
Which appear more in a single document, but not in all the documents.
Yeah. So that means that is specific to that particular topic, whatever that it's, which is discussed in that book. It is not more common. So that is what the idea of getting TF-IDF. Doc profile, set of words with the highest TF-IDF scores together with their scores. So you make words as features, then your TF-IDF scores are values. Now come back to the what is user profile, how do we build? User has rated items with profiles I1 to IN. Simple, weighted average of rated item profiles. So user profile you need to build now. Item profile is simple. You find some features and you assign some values or you compute those values for those features. Okay. That is the item profile is built. Now we are building user profiles based on item profiles. So now user has rated items with profiles I1 to IN. The simple thing is you add all those item profiles, then you will get the user profiles. But you make it average so that it normalizes. If somebody has 7 movies, then 7 movies profiles we need to add. But if somebody watched only 2, then 7 movies profile will have more values, right? So you take the average of all when you after adding those profiles. These are vectors, right? Vector addition is simple. Term by term we will add, right? In vector. So just look at for which profiles, item profiles he has rated. All those profiles you add, make the average. That is the simple. The another way is the weighted average also. So weighted average will come provided if they are scores instead of the simple 0, 1. If there are scores, then let's see somebody is some profile is having a 3 value for that actor. Some profile is having only 2 value. Then how do you simply add and average? So there we need to take the weighted. We'll discuss how do we take the weight. Variant, normalize weights using average rating of users. So one more way is simply normalize weights instead of taking direct. So we'll see how do we normalize with an example. More sophisticated aggregations also possible. If you are interested to build the recommendation systems, you need to see that. It's how do we take aggregations before building the user profiles. There are different methods you'll get. It's even if you go to Wikipedia simply or Google, search for recommendation systems and building user profiles from ITER profiles, the aggregate possible functions. So we'll take one example and see that how do we build this, these item profiles and user profiles with weighted or normalized weight and normal with simple weight. Items or movies here, only features is actor. We are not taking many features here, only actor we are taking as feature. Item profile vector with 0 or 1 for each actor. So you'll take a movie, you will create how many features, how many actors are there in that movie, that many features will come. So that movie vector is nothing but if that actor means it's if you have 10 movies, then you take actors in all 10 movies together. In one movie, 3 actors are there. In another movie, 4 actors are there. 2 actors are common. Then how many features you will get for both movies? In one 3, other one 4, 2 are common. Five, because 3 plus 4 is 7. 2 are common. We are counting 2 times that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you will get only 5 features. Then each item you will take. That item wherever the actor is present in that movie, you will put 0, 1 value. If that actor is not present, you will put 0 value. So that is how we build. If we are having something like 100 movies, then you need to get actors acting in all those 100 movies. Then they will become features. Suppose user X has watched 5 movies, 2 movies featuring actor A, 3 movies featuring actor B. Then user profile equal to mean of item profiles. So you need to take these 5 movies vectors, then you need to add user profile equal to mean of item profiles. So add these 5 item movie vectors, then take the average by dividing by 5. User profile we need to give now, that is nothing but mean of item profiles. It's simple average this is, or simple weighted average. So 2 by 5 out of feature A's weight is 2 by 5 because you have out of 5 movies, 2 are in A. So A's weight is 0.4 for this user. Because he has watched 5 movies. In 5 movies, how many movies he watched of A? Only 2. Means his liking for A is 2 by 5. Similarly, feature B's weight for user profile. If he watched 3 out of 5, then B is getting more weight, right? 3 by 5. So your weight 0.4 and 0.6. So wherever A's value is there, you need to multiply with 0.4. Wherever B's values, you need to multiply with 0.6. So in other words, if you problem to understand this. So you have 2 vectors, movie. How many movies you have? 5 movies you have. 5 vectors you have. 3, 4, 5 like that. I'll put only 1, 2, 3 here. Then you have 2 actors, A and B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have here only 2 actors. Then this movie might have actor only B. This has both. Again, this has no actor A, only B is there, and this is both. And you have 1 and 0. So the first movie vector is what? 0, 1. Second movie vector is this. Okay. Yeah. So these 5 movies, the user watched now. Then the simple thing is you add this and divide by 5, you will get the user profile. So that is 3 by 5 and 4 by 5. Okay. Here in this case, 2 by 5, because you watched only A's movies 2, right? But in our case, we got 3 movies. So what is the vector of the user who watched these 5 movies? That is 3 by 5. Why we are writing 3 by 5? Because he watched only 3 out of 5 movies in which A acted, right?
Yes.
In 5 movies, he watched only 3 movies of A. And how many movies of B he is watching? He watched 4 by 5. This is his profile vector. This is his profile vector. Now new movie comes. If that new movie is having 1, 1, then we will see how similar with the user profile. That is 1, 1, because we are computing user profile based on movie profiles, right? Item profile.
Yes.
So those are in same vector size you have, and you are averaged them. What items he purchased or what items he watched. So now whenever a new item or a item if you didn't watch earlier, then we will see that how close with his profile. So that we will recommend. So anyway, this is the how we will build a user profile and item profiles. So if they give ratings, then the problem will come. Same example, but 1 5-star ratings. Actor A's movie rated 3 and 5. Actor B's movies rated 1, 2, and 4. So in general, it's you will get from film critics or somebody else, or with the taking the survey from the people or getting the ratings from the people. Actor A's movies rated 3 and 5. Then actor B's movies rated 1, 2, and 4. So here it's they are considering actors not acted in both movies. That's why you cannot see the here this. So movies. So that movie in which A acted, the rating is 3 and 5. Movies in B acted 1, 2, and 4. Remember, there is 5 movies and 5 ratings are there. So don't worry about it. See, if in some movie both are there, that movie rating only will give. And for that B's movie, the same rating will come. For that movie, which is common for both movies, the actor who is common for both, the rating will be same for those actors. So useful step, normalize rating by subtracting user's mean rating. So what we do is now, actor A's normalized rating we will find out in all the movies in which he acted, and the ratings you take. What is the normalized rating he get for his acting? So he acted in 2 movies. He got some rating 3 and 5. What is normalized rating? That is nothing but you take the mean and adjust your values, the existing value minus mean. So what is the average of 3 and 5? 4. So 4 minus 3 is 1 value. 5 minus, yeah. And 5 minus mod value will take how much of distance? No, not mod value. Okay. 4 minus 3 is 1 value. 4 minus 5 or the present value minus the mean. 5 minus 4 is 1 value. and 3 minus 4 is other value. Oh, sorry. So we need to take the mean of all these values, 3 and 5 and 1, 2 and 4 also. So what is the mean of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Average of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 is the middle number, right?
Yes.
So 3 is the average. 4, 5 is 9, 3, 12, 12 to 14, 15. 15 by 3 is how much? 15 by 5 is how much? 3. 3 is the mean. So actor A's normalized rating is equal to the present value minus mean. 3 minus 3, 0. 5 minus 4, 5 minus 3 is plus 2. Then profile weight is the summation of these two. 0 plus 2 by 2, 1. And actor B's normalized rating, sir. What is this minus 2?
1 minus 3.
1 minus 3. What is this minus 1?
2 minus 3.
2 minus 3 and 4 minus 3. So you get minus 2 minus 1 minus plus 1. So for this profile weight is minus 2 by 3. So once you get these profile weights, so you use these weights instead of simply adding them. So you will use, you multiply with 1 wherever that A's profile is there. So wherever A values are there, you multiply with 1, and wherever B values are there, you multiply with minus 2 by 3 when you are adding up. So that will give you normalized ratings by subtracting user's mean rating. Why they are subtracting user's mean rating? Different users may have different scaling, right? If you see in normal, some people won't give for any movie a great rating. Some people will tend to give it. So even if they like little bit, they may give full 5 rating. So to adjust those things, see, we are adjusting those values to his nature. If in his view or in his thinking, 5 is very high rating, only for exceptional movies, he give 5 rating. Then we are adjusting remaining ratings also based on that. So that is the advantage here. The bias of the different people, how do they rate? That is subtracted here by taking the mean of each user. He watched 5 movies, then how is he rating different movies? So in which actors you have, according to that, you are getting the profile weight. So to remove the bias of users thinking and giving rating, this normalization will help. Is it clear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Because though we are expecting 1 to 5 is a good score, but different people start measuring in a different way, right? When they are giving that rating. So how do you compare two people giving the, if you don't take the mean, the problem is you are considering all people are giving in the same scale, 0 to 5 with the same computation, because we are not providing any computation for them. They are computing on their own based on what they are liking or not liking, or their nature also. Some people never tend to give good score. That is also sometimes problem. Then once you get the profile and item profile, then simply you need to estimate the UXI, utility of xi equal to cos theta, that is x dot I by mod x mod I, the dot product of those two vectors. Technically, the cosine distance is actually the angle theta, and the cosine similarity is the angle 180 minus theta. But anyway, we are looking at which pair is having highest score. Whether you measure 180 minus theta or cos theta, those pairs only will be highly scored. The measurements may change, but the measuring method we are changing. Instead of considering 180 minus theta as the distance, we are considering cos theta as the distance. For convenience, we use cos theta as our similarity measure. So how similar they are. Distance is theta and 180 minus theta is similar. If cos theta value is high, then that is more similar. Means when will you get cos theta high value for thetas? Cos 0 is what? And cos 90 is
0.
0. And will you and the cos 180 is -1 and cos 270 is also 0. So what is the maximum value cos will take? 1, right?
1.
So you will get the similarity maximum is 1 only. So this cos theta will help us to find the similarity measure. So if higher cos value, then they are more similar. If not higher cos value, lower cos value, then they are not similar. So that's why we will, once we get the profile of the user and item profile, we simply take the cos theta value. And if cos theta is more, they are similar. If cos theta is less, they are not similar. Then what are the pros and content-based approach for this? No need for data on other users. So you don't need to worry about it, see, comparing this user with others. You don't need, first of all, data of other users. Able to recommend to users with unique tastes. You're still customizing based on his interests. You're recommending, not based on it. See, somebody is similar, all those. Whenever you do some computation, there is chance of error also. So here we are recommending based on his tastes, our tastes. Able to recommend new and unpopular items. No first-rater problem. So we are not looking that it's whether other people are rated this or not. How do we rate for this person? So based on his previous history, we are trying to rate this item. Means it's if a new movie comes, if you use collaborative filtering, you need ratings by other people. But here you are trying to get a feature vector for that new movie, and you have already profile vector based on his previously watched things. Then you are comparing. So you don't need that. It's people not started rating that. That problem is not there. Explanations for recommended items. So you can also explain why you are recommending, because you will say that you have liked most of the times movies acted by A. That's why I'm recommending this. You can explain. Content features that caused an item to be recommended. So this also will explain. What are the cons? Finding the appropriate feature is hard. Images, movies, music. So we have seen movies actor, but actor is the only feature which we should consider, or director or comedian. Many other things also will come. So finding our genre or the story, many things will come. Finding the appropriate features is hard. Over specialization never recommends items outside user's content profile. What does it mean?
The user has watched only movies of actor A and B, then only those actors' movies will only be recommended.
Yeah, if a new actor comes, then you don't recommend that, right? Because new actor will not be close to the movies which he has already watched. That is the problem here. Never recommend items outside user's content profile. People might have multiple interests and unable to exploit quality judgments of other users. Here it's in content-based, there is also problem for e-commerce websites. If a person purchases a refrigerator, he will not purchase immediately next day another refrigerator, right? If you are looking items which are similar to the previously purchased items, you'll get the same. Some of the items like clothes might be some daily utensils. People may purchase regularly, more number of times the same item, but same item people will purchase very less. Nowadays people are purchasing, but earlier days, if they purchase one two-wheeler, then they were using it, say 20 years, 30 years like that. Now every 2 years, 3 years, they are changing. But it's okay. But most of the times the problem with this is some of the items which they already purchased, they might not purchase the same thing. So similar items, that also will come as a problem here. So unable to exploit quality judgment of other users. If a new item comes, then he hasn't seen, nothing will come close. His user profile will not come close to that. But if other people like, this person also may like, that judgment we are missing here. Cold start problem for new users. So to build the user profile, you need what?
You already purchased items, you already watched
So
movies.
if you are very new user to Amazon e-commerce website, they cannot build your profile, right? Because they don't have any history of what items you have already purchased. So for them, recommendation is becoming difficult. So those are the cons for this. Now we'll see the collaborative filtering. So it is exactly same. Instead of the user ratings, we will consider here, it's how other users are also rating that. So here collaborative filtering X, consider user X, find set N of other users whose ratings are similar to excess rating. Estimate excess ratings based on ratings of users in N. So earlier we were taking user profile based on his history of his purchases or his likings. Then a new item is there, then we were looking at that user profile is close to which new item. Now here, we are not just going by user profile. We are first find set N of other users. We need to first find who are the similar persons like this user. So find set N of other users whose ratings are similar to excess ratings. So if they both watched some movie, then how they are rating? If they are rating highly, then both are liking the same thing, or they are evaluating the same thing. One is giving high, other person is not giving high, means there is some mismatch, means their thinking is not same. They are not same, similar users. Estimate excess rating based on ratings of users in N. If you find Y is also rating like X, Y watched a new movie, he gave some rating, then we assume that because earlier Y and X are rating similarly, X also, if we watch, rate similarly. So we will recommend what Y, if he is rating similarly as X, what Y liking the new ones. If X is not purchased or watched that, then we will recommend those things which Y liked most. So that is the idea here, what we are doing in collaborative filtering. Estimate excess ratings based on ratings of users in N. N is nothing but similar users. So here the table looks like this. These are the items HP1, HP2 to SW3. A, B, C, D are people. Then A rated HP1 4 and TW 5, SW1 1. So now, how do we find out that which two users are, if you take two users, how similar they are rating? Now consider users X and Y with rating vectors Rx and Ry. What is rating vector of A here? 4, 0, 0, 5, 1, 0, 0. So like this. So you have two users and you have rating vectors. We need a similarity matrix, similarity of XY we need to find out. So capture intuition that similarity of AB is greater than similarity of AC. So by finding the similarity between two vectors Rx and Ry, we should be able to say that users AB are more similar than users of A and C. So we'll see this example. There are different measures. How do you find the similarity? One is the Jaccard similarity. Do you remember where did we use Jaccard similarity?
Document.
LSH, right? Locality sensitization there. So set so common elements by total number of elements. So that is, so here we don't consider the rating. If they rated this, we consider they liked it. So we consider this as a Boolean. Then we'll see that what is the common movies they watched, A and B, and gave rating. So you consider A and B.
Only HP1.
Only first one, right? Only one element is common here out of 5. Total, they purchased 5 items, but only one item is common in their purchase. So their similarity is 1/5. So compare similarly AC, similarity between AC. 2, 4, 5, 1, they are common. Total is 4, right?
Yes.
2/4. Then what is similarity between B and C? How many common are there in B and C? Forget about the ratings, just some number is there.
2.
B and C.
B and C, okay. 0.
0. So they are not at all similar. What is B and D? These are 3,
1.
5. 1/5, not 1. Total 5 elements. B and D. B is 3 elements. D is 2 elements. How many are common?
1 common.
1 common.
One
So,
common.
5. So like that. So problem ignores rating values. With this Jacquard similarity you can take, but it is ignoring. Somebody is liking with 4, somebody is liking 5, but you are considering both liked. So that is the problem. We are not considering here the rating. Then option 2, cosine similarity we can take. Then simply take a cos of RA and RB. Then compute. What is cos of RA, RB? RA dot RB by mod RA mod RB. So what is the dot product RA and RB? 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. That's all, 20 by. Then what is mod A is square root of 4 square plus 5 square plus 1 square. How much it is? 16, 25 is 41, 42, root 42. Then what is this mod? 25, 25, 50, 16, 66, root 66. That is nothing but root 42 multiplied by 66. 20 by how much that is? Are you getting 0.32? 42, 66. Yeah, if you compute, you may get that only. So anyway, if you simply take 2400, right, 40 and 60, you take 2500, 50 will come down, 20 by 50, roughly I'm saying. So 20 by 50 is how much? 2/5. 66 we need to take. I just took 60, right? Then 20 by 60 something, let's see, then you will get 20 by 60, 2/6 is 1/3. Okay. So similarity of AB is less than similarity of first one is 0.38. Okay, I'm sorry. So it is coming close to that, and second one is 0.32. Then similarity of AB is less than similarity of AC, but not by much. Earlier, what happened? It's the difference is almost double, right? Double, whatever that. This is 50%, this is 20%. Difference is very, very high here in this Jacquard similarity method. In cosine similarity method, the differences have come close. Why?
Because we are considering rating also.
Yeah. So whatever it is common, C and A, one is with high, other one is with 2, right? It is almost, they are not at the same scale. And 1, 4 also is coming down. So that is the advantage in this. Though there are 2 common, for first one only 1 is common, but that commonality is almost they are liking in a similar way. 4 and 5 is close values. But when it comes to the A and C, they are liking, but their liking measure is not same. So it is also considering the measurement of how much they like. Problem treats missing ratings as negative. So with this, the problem is whenever you are having, you have values missing, then it is considering as negative. So that is problem with this. Option 3, centered cosine. Normalize ratings by subtracting rho mean. So you take 4 plus 5 is 9 plus 1, 10. Then subtract with rho mean. What is mean of 10? 10 by 3 is how much? 3 point something, right? 3.3. So remove 4 minus 3.3, 5 minus 3.3, whatever you get here. Then you are getting these values. That is nothing but normalized rating by subtracting row mean. Okay, so it is simple for us to compute the last row. What is the mean of last row? Dth row.
Do we consider all these 7 columns or just the
No,
particular?
row mean, all 7. Yeah, all 7 you consider. Then it is 10 by 7. We'll see that it's how he's getting values. It is 10 by 7. 10 by 7. 4 minus 10 by 7 is 28 minus 10 by 7. That is 18 by 7. No. How are you getting this 2 by 3? So if you consider only 3, then you are getting 10 by 3. So 4 minus 10 by 3, 12 minus 10 by 3, 2 by 3. So you are only considering row mean for how many values you have non-zero values.
Okay.
Here also it's
Dth row is mean 0.
yeah, dth row meaning mean is 0, 3, not
3. Subtraction.
3 minus 3, 3 minus 3. So centered cosine similarity, if you use, then similarity you are getting 0.09 between A and B, and between A and C you are getting minus 0.56. Not very far, still it's less than 1 only the difference. One is negative side, one is positive side. Yeah, negative side it is very high. Yeah, it is views difference you have now. So instead of we say A and C similar, A and C are not similar because their ratings are, at least it's when they are giving rating, they are not agreeing, right? 5 and 2 and 1 and 4. One is liking very much, other one is not liking that much. But wherever they watched the same thing and they gave rating, they are giving in a similar way, 4 and 5 for A and B. For A and C, the difference you can find. But anyway, there are 3 methods. This is the centered cosine similarity. This will give you different scores. Captures intuition better, missing ratings treated as average, handles tough raters and easy raters. So it will handle tough raters means what? Who will give less rating always? They are tough raters, right? Easy raters means who will give high rating, it's even if they like small thing, then they give high rating. That also is handled here. And this method, cosine similarity, centered cosine similarity, is also called Pearson correlation also. This is also called Pearson correlation. Then rating predictions now. Let Rx be the vector of user excess ratings. Let N be the set of K users most similar to X who have also rated item I. What we do now, a new movie has come. A hasn't seen. B, C, D have seen. B and D are close to A in giving ratings. Then we'll take average of B and D ratings. Then we will predict A's rating as average rating of B and D, because B and D are most similar users for A, and B and D already watched that movie. That is the concept we are going to use here. So here, let Rx be the vector of user excess rating. Let N be the set of K users most similar to X who have also rated item I. Prediction for user X and item I is option 1. Rxi equal to 1 by K, sigma Y belongs to N, Ryi. So what it is doing in this summation? 1 by K is average, right? K users, most similar K users rating you are adding. So 1 by K is for the average purpose. What is the summation?
Summation of the ratings given by those.
So get all those rating vectors for all the movies. Then You add them, then make 1 by k. Then for each movie, you will get its rating, right? Based on averaging that, in other words. Option 2 is you can multiply with that SXY also, means similarity also. So you are considering k users now, similar users, but some user may be more close than the other user. See, you are finding k similar users. Are their scores, similarity scores will be same with A? They will vary, right?
Yes.
Again, the most similar user ratings should be given more value. Least similar user rating should be given less value. That is the concept of this is weighted. So Rxi equal to Y belongs to N. Sxy is what? The similarity between X and Y, then Ry vector. So if your similarity is more, you are giving more weight to that vector. If your similarity is less, then you give less weight. Then averaging should happen here. Instead of 1 by k, you should add all the similarities. You understand the difference? The first one is not considering similarity score. Second one is also considering the similarity score. More similar users will have more contribution. Less similar users will have less contribution.
Yes.
Okay, this is a user collaborative. Now item collaborative we'll see. So for user collaborative filtering we have seen. Another view is item. For item I, find other similar items. Estimate rating for item I based on ratings for similar items. So instead of the users, now we are getting item vectors here. For item I, find other similar items. The same way it's a cosine similarity. Estimate rating for item I based on ratings for similar items. So if a new item comes we will find out which already existing items are close to this. So most similar things. Then get the average of those most similar things and give rating for the new item that. So that is the item collab. The only difference is instead of users now items here. So can use same similarity metrics and prediction functions as in user model. So most similar items will contribute more to find the rating for the new item, and least similar items will contribute less. So that is what we'll take item collaborative filtering. Then some examples are given. Item collaborative filtering here. Mod n equal to 2 means 2 close similar items you are considering, and you multiply with similarity score. Then give the user ratings, item ratings based on those similar items. So estimate rating of movie 1 by user 5. So these are the users now. Item collaborative filtering. Then we need to find out this movie, whatever one is, close to what? Which movies? So ratings are similar to which other ratings? The first row is similar to which other row? That we need to find out. So here, 2 items we need to find out which are similar. So movies 3 and 6 are more similar. Here similarity of 1 and M they found. Similarity of 1 with 1 is 1, right? Almost you'll get 1 for that, right?
Yes.
And 1 with 2 is minus 0.18, 1 with 3 is 0.41. So what are the most similar things? Third one and sixth one. Last one. Then get the user ratings based on this. So you need to add 6 and 3 multiplying with the 0.41 and 0.59. Here we use Pearson correlation as similarity, subtract mean rating MI from each movie I, that is the first step. Then M1 equal to 3.6, row 1 equal to this minus 2.6, whatever that. Compute cosine similarity between these rows. Then you are getting cos theta values this much. Then compute similarity weights. S13 equal to 0.41, S16 is 0.59. Then R15 is 0.41 multiplied by 2. This is 2. Because we are interested only for this particular user. So we'll compute only for this column. So 0.41 multiplied by 2 plus 0.59 multiplied by 3 divided by 0.41 plus 0.59, that is 2.6. Is it clear this example what you did? Here, first you need to normalize the scores by subtracting the mean of the row. Okay. So once you get that, then you find most similar rows with the where you are trying to find out the value. Excluding that, get the most similar rows. Then use those most similar rows. In this case, how many you are considering? Two similar rows. So take those two similar rows, multiply with similarity scores, divide by the weight, 0.41 plus 0.59 in this case. So you are getting 2.6 for the new one. So in theory, user and item are dual approaches. So both people can take. In practice, item outperforms user in many use cases. So which one is more used in reality? Item or user? Read the second thing. Item is also giving reason. Items are simpler than users. Items belongs to a small set of genres. Users have varied tastes. So item similarity is more meaningful than user similarity. So when we are finding user similarity, we are not getting that accurate values. But when we are finding item similarities, we'll get more accurate values.
Above slide.
Which
we are only considering 2 rows, right?
Because he said mod n equal to 2, right?
So how we decide on that value?
So again, it's experimental things. You need to have some mechanism, how close you are getting. This is same your nearest neighbor method. In nearest neighbors, if you increase more, then you'll get a normal score, right? Average score of all the people. If you take only 1 or 2, then you are more specified or dependent or 1 or 2. You cannot remove the bias.
Yes.
So that is the problem. So usually it is to be experimentally, we need to decide it. See? We'll discuss that. Let's see. What we do is, we will remove some of the known values. We know 5 value right here.
Yes.
6th row.
Yes, sir.
So we will remove this 5. Again, we recompute. Then we will find out most similar users. We will get some rating. If that rating is coming close to 5, then we are doing fine. Otherwise, we are not doing fine, right?
Right.
So there are methods how to validate this. So you shield the known values, try to estimate by this method by taking 2, 3, see varying. Then for which mod n equal to you are getting close values, you need to take that. These are small examples, but in reality, we'll have hundreds of rows. Here, your prediction values, are they coming close to the existing values or not? If they are coming close to the existing values, you will take that n. That is what I'm saying, experimenting, right? You experiment with n equal to 2, experiment with n equal to 3, plot something. Then if you find a clear cut, it's as n increasing, the values or accuracy is also increasing up to some level. After that, when you are increasing n, your values also coming down, get that value.
Yes.
So that part we haven't discussed, but anyway, now I have discussed how to validate also, right? No. So because you need known values to validate. So you don't use 5 as the existing, you just remove that. Then try to predict if 5 is not there, what value you will get by this algorithm, how close you are getting. So the challenges what we face in implementing collaborative filtering. Expensive step is finding k most similar users. Order of mod u. Size of utility matrix. So what is this complexity? How are you getting this complexity? For one user, you need to find k most similar users, right? How do you find k most similar users? You need to compute similarity between the user and with all other users, right?
Yes.
So that is almost the number of users. The complexity is each time. You need to compute that many similarities. And that should be done for each user. So that's why it is size of the utility matrix. Because again, it's the computation also will happen Rx multiplied by Ry, all those things. So too expensive to do at runtime. You think of now Flipkart or Amazon web stores. How many users they will have? Millions, right? It may not be possible to find out. Then there should be some other mechanisms. Could pre-compute. One way is pre-compute and put by using different nodes. Naive pre-computation takes time equal to order of n times mod u, where n equal to number of users. So if you have n users, for each user, you need to find out similar k users, right?
Yeah.
Then for one user to find out k similar user is the mod u. For n users, it is multiplied by n. We already know how to do this. In LSH, we use it, right? We will hash them and similar things will fall into the same hash bucket. We will compute from only that hash bucket similar users. Do you remember that LSH?
Yes, sir.
So nearest, this is nothing but nearest neighbor only. So we are finding nearest similar users. So nearest neighbor search in high dimensions, we'll use LSH. Then clustering, we can also use clustering. So if you want to find out similar users, we will only find out within that cluster group. Then another one is the dimensionality reduction, which I spoke just now, that latent semantic analysis that we will discuss next when we go for dimensionality reduction. Pros, cons of collaborative filtering: works for any kind of item, no feature selection needed. Cold start, need enough users in the system to find a match. So if you don't have many users, then you cannot find similar users also, right? So initially it is cold start. Sparsity, the user ratings matrix is sparse, harder to find users that have rated the same items. Then first rater cannot recommend an unrated item, new items, esoteric items, whatever that. Popularity bias, trend tends to recommend popular items. You are not considering his own interests. In content based, you are going by his interest, right? His or her interest. Now you are going by how similar, and similarity is also a little bit, it's popularity. So you are recommending most of the times most popular, means in your circle. May not be it's in the entire popular, but in your circle, whatever is popular, you are recommending them only. You understand this last point?
Yes.
You are not going by simply the statistical method of popular items. You are going by in your circle, means wherever you find this is one homogeneous group. In that homogeneous group, whatever is popular, you are, because again in that homogeneous group, whatever is people like it, that you are recommending, not just based on is a previous history. Then hybrid methods add content-based methods to collaborative filtering. Item profiles for new item problem. Again, this is item profiles for new item problem. So in content-based, you cannot. So you get from the collaborative filtering, the scoring for that item. Demographics to deal with new user problems. Okay, if you cannot find anywhere region, the similar users, you can use other demographies, what similar users. Implement two or more different recommenders and combine predictions, perhaps using a linear model. So what this is nothing like an ensemble model. You use different models for prediction and get the something average or highest rating, whatever that it's more frequent rating, something like that. Implement 2 or more different recommenders and combine predictions, perhaps using a linear model. Linear model is again, it's a, you can use your linear regression type of things. Example, global baseline plus collaborative filtering. So global baseline estimate is estimate Joe's rating for the movie, The Sixth Sense. Problem, Joe has not rated any movie similar to The Sixth Sense. Then global baseline approach is mean movie rating is 3.7 stars. The Sixth Sense is 0.5 stars above average. Joe rates 0.2 stars below average. So baseline estimate is 3.7 plus 0.5 minus 0.2 equal to 4 stars. It's giving another approach, right? For each person, you find out, what is the mean movie rating. Then what is the Sixth Sense movie rating? That is 3.7 plus 0.5. But Joe's usual rating, if you take the average of all the users, that is coming something like 3.7. But Joe's average rating for all the movies which he rated, that is less than the 3.7, that is 0.2 less than 3.7, that is 3.5. Then baseline estimate for him, a new movie comes, what is his baseline? Not looking at his previous history, whatever that. That is 3.7 plus 0.5 minus 0.2, that is 4 stars. What are the 3 factors you are looking here? What is the baseline rating a user can give for a movie? First, you should get the average movie rating, right?
Yes.
That is for all movies, whatever average. Then the particular movie you take, what is the mean average by already people rated that? It's what is the average rating that movie is getting? That may be more or less than this. And you are adjusting. Otherwise, you may say the 4.2 is a Sixth Sense rating. But for Joe, you are adjusting according to his nature of, or whether he is a tough rater or whether he is an easy rater. If he is a tough rater, then he will also give less stars for this movie. So all others are giving 4.2, but he will give less 0.2 because he is a tough rater. Means he doesn't give that easily the good rating. If he is an easy rater, then he will also give more rating than the 4.2. So this is baseline approach. Average movie ratings plus the present movie, how much it is rated more, minus Joe's average, below average, how much of below average is rating generally. So that is the 4 stars you are getting for this particular example, global baseline approach. So global baseline approach, if you use, Joe will give 4 stars for this Sixth Sense. So then local neighborhood, collaborative filtering by this nearest neighbors. Joe didn't like related movie Signs. So rated it 1 star below his average rating. Then final estimate is Joe will rate the Sixth Sense. So this related movie means what? Sixth Sense is close to Science movie. And Joe already watched that. He gave 1 star less, rated it 1 star below his average rating. Then final estimate is Joe will rate the Sixth Sense. 4 minus 1 is 3. How is it? 3.5 stars. So this is 3 stars, right? Okay. So Joe will rate the Sixth Sense 4 minus 1, 3 stars. The common practice defines similarity Sij of items I and j. Select k nearest neighbors Nix. Items most similar to I that were rated by x. Estimate rating Rxi as the weighted average. Then what is this B?
Baseline estimate.
So you need to remove the baseline always. So find the baseline, then add the initially baseline plus. So in ratings, you need to remove again baseline Rxj minus Bxj. This formula you need to use. Mu plus Bx plus Bi. Mu is overall mean movie rating. Bx is rating deviation of user X, average rating of user X minus mu. BI is rating deviations of movie I. So these things you need to consider finally to give a rating. So you are including the collaborative filtering with baseline scores. The last part is simple thing. It won't take much time. Then how do we evaluate? Movies and users, then you have, then take the test data set. Harideep, this is answer for your question, right?
Yes.
You know the values, but don't consider you have those values, keep aside and compute using your method and see that how close you are coming. So compare predictions against withheld known ratings. Don't withheld like this, right? This is only for example, they are saying a part of the data is withheld. So when you are considering, you need to remove randomly values. You know random sampling, right?
Yes.
So not 1/4 of the given matrix you withheld. This is only for the purposes they are saying you withheld 1/4 of the data. That's all. It's not the only the last values in this matrix. Then you lose lots of data for the last few rows, right? Half of the rows. That is the problem. So compare prediction against withheld known ratings. You know that what is RMSE. Find out RMSE where n equal to mod t. Some number of you are taking k is t here. RXI is the predicted rating. RXI star is the actual rating. Okay, this RMSE you can take and see how close you are coming. Problems with error measures. Narrow focus on accuracy sometimes misses the point. Prediction diversity, prediction context, order of predictions. So all these things you may miss if you use it. See, if you consider only this RMSE and use this. So prediction diversity means what? Earlier you are considering the similar items and based on that you are doing, right? Now to adjust your RMSE, then you will adjust all the parameters. Then you lose that, see how different people will predict or rate in different ways. You are somehow to get the average rating, something like that. Then prediction context also will go. Then order of predictions also will go. So these are the problems, some of the problems if you use simply by just accuracy. In practice, we care only to predict high ratings. RMSE must penalize a method that does well for high ratings and badly for others. So what is the meaning of this? RMSE might penalize a method that does well for high ratings and badly for others. Alternative, precision at top K, percentage of predictions in the user's top K withheld ratings. Okay, anyway. So this RMSE might penalize a method that I don't see that. Okay, so you consider, because you are not interested which he doesn't like, right? Or which user doesn't like. You are only more interested which user like. So when it is saying that highly likely recommendation, if it is making mistake with highly likely things, you need to penalize those methods where it is making mistakes in finding highly likely elements more, and small for the does well for high ratings and badly for others. So that you need to consider. So you consider only, say you got some 100 predictions. Then in 100 predictions, you got 10 are very high scores. So with those high scores only, you compute this RMSE, or you give more weight, whatever mistake it does, see. If it is not highly likely, but it is saying that it is highly likely, get a new rating for the new user, then you give more penalty for that. So if it is not doing well in predicting it, say bad means which movies the user doesn't like, it's okay. You can reduce the weight for those movies. So this completes our discussion. Here the second step is also same thing. Percentage of predictions in the user's top K with held ratings. So you have some 100 ratings, but you get only top K, 20 ratings, something like in 100. In those 20 ratings, how close it is, instead of taking all 100 ratings. So this completes the discussion of the recommendation systems, except again, we will come back when we do the recommender dimensionality reduction. That is the next topic, dimensionality reduction. So this I put, actually I planned for 2 days, but we finished in a day now. So now you need to decide, we will have only one class tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So which day you want. Remaining time you can work on the project. I think tomorrow if we finish the class, whatever is slated for this week, you can have Saturday, Friday also. Friday you can fix some evaluations, whatever. For that purpose you can use.
Okay.
So we will finish tomorrow, this week class. Then you can use Friday time to give demos or let's say to get higher grade your machine learning toolbox, those things, if you are ready.